I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Management Studio and take a look at the database that we've got set up for our demos. What you're going to notice is that we've got two little tables, Customers and Customers Archive. Inside of Customers, we've got our customer ID, which is flagged as a primary key. We've got our name, and we've got an isActive bit flag, and the bit is going to be set to 1, of course, if they're active, which is the default, or 0 when they're inactive. And then over on the other side of things, you're going to notice that we've got our Customers Archive with, again, a customer ID. But here, what we're going to have is our old name and our new name. The goal that we want out of our demos is to ensure that when somebody does a delete statement, that we simply flag the customer as inactive by setting the isActive bit to 0. And if somebody changes a name, that we record that inside of the Customers Archive. Let's take a look at how we can do this. I'm going to open up a new query window, and I'm just going to turn off IntelliSense, which is that little button right there. It's honestly just going to get in my way for this demo anyway. And I'm going to say create trigger, and I'm going to give this a name, and this is going to be an instead of trigger. I'm going to start off by flagging the customer as inactive. So this is going to be for delete on the customers table, and I'm going to say mark customer as inactive. Now, I really like to identify the type of trigger, the table that it's associated with, and what it's going to do as part of the logic. Then this is going to be on DBO customers, and this is going to be an instead of delete. Okay. Now inside of here, what I'm going to do is set my no count on. And if you remember, what that will do is that will suppress the number of rows affected. And the main reason to do this, there's a little bit of a performance gain here, but the main reason to do this is because without this, what's going to happen is I'll see 2 rows affected and then 2 rows affected. And I don't want that duplicate. Then what I'm going to do is build up my update statement. So I'm going to say update DBO customers. I'm going to say set isActive equal to 0. And then I'm going to say from DBO customers C inner join deleted D on C customer ID equals D customer ID. Now what I want you to notice here is, first of all, that I'm doing my update statement with my join. The next thing that I want you to notice is the deleted keyword there. Deleted is going to be that mystical magical table that will automatically match the target table behind the scenes, and it will automatically have all of the old values. So it's going to have the customer ID that somebody was trying to delete, and then we're going to use that to mark them as inactive instead. So let's execute this, and then let's go ahead and create a customer. So I'm going to say insert into DBO customers, their name, and then values, and let's specify Christopher. Excellent. So let's highlight that, do our execute. Whoops, I don't want string literals there. Typing too fast. There we go. So we'll do our execute, and you're going to notice that sure enough we get our 1 row affected. And now I'm going to say select customer ID, and then the name, and isActive from DBO customers. And if we highlight that and hit execute, you'll notice sure enough our isActive is set to 1, so our default was working. Now what we want to do is we want to test our delete. So let's just simply say delete from DBO customers where customer ID equals 1. So let's execute that. And what you're going to notice is that all that we get back is just simply one row affected. Now, if I reissue my select statement here, let's just highlight that, paste that down below here, and execute this. What you're going to notice is that our isActive is now set to 0, so the customer wasn't actually deleted, and the reason for that is the instead of trigger. That the instead of trigger captured whatever it was that we were trying to do, and instead it made the modification. So in our case, it updated it to be 0. Now let's take a look at the other side of things. Now let's take a look at how we can archive the changes. So I'm going to say, once again, create trigger, and this is going to be an after trigger, and it's going to be after update. It's going to be on customers, and I'm going to say archive name changes on DBO customers after update. Okay, and once again, I'm going to turn off the IntelliSense here just because all it's going to do is get in my way. And then I'm going to say as begin and end. Let's once again say set no count on, and this is again going to be to suppress the number of rows affected. Now let's put in our logic to do the insert. So I'm going to say insert into DBO customers archive, and this is going to be the customer ID, the old name, and the new name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a select statement, and I already kind of know where I'm going, so I'm just simply going to say I.customer ID. I'm going to say D.name, and that's of course going to give me the old name. And then I'm going to say I.name, and that will give me the new name. And if you remember, the two tables that we have are our deleted table and our inserted table. Now our deleted table and our inserted table are going to contain the old and the new values respectively. So what I can do is join those together on D customer ID equals I customer ID, so that way I make sure that I'm grabbing the appropriate values. But I do have one little problem, and that is what happens if somebody did an update but they did not actually change the name. Well, what I can do is very easily filter that out by saying and D name doesn't equal I name. So that last check will ensure the name is changed. So now I've got my trigger set up. Create that. And then let's make a couple of changes. So let's sneak down to the bottom here. Let's insert in a brand new value. Insert into DBO customers. Values. Brian. And sure enough, one row affected. And then let's do an update. So we'll say update DBO customers set name equal to Dave, where name equals Brian. So now we'll do our update. What you're going to notice, once again, just one row affected, but when I do my select statement, person.contact, DBO customers archive, I'm going to execute my little select statement, and you'll notice that I've got my new name of Dave and my old name of Brian. Now, what we want to test is that other updates that are not on the name also work. So I'm going to do this by saying update DBO customers set is active equal to 0, where customer ID equals 2. And now I execute that when we're affected, of course. And then let's go ahead and reissue the select statement against customer archive. And what I want you to notice, still one row, because we filtered out anything that did not change the name. Triggers are one of those things that you're not going to find yourself reaching for, but on those moments when you need it, you're going to be very happy that it's there. And that's what we've taken a look at in this lesson. I'll see you in the next one.